Welcome to Topics in Digital Economics. My name is Paul Belflam. This presentation is about the demand for network goods. In this presentation, I want to explain why network effects can make demand atypical. I'm going to use the simplest possible model with only two users, but I can tell you that the results we will have here can be easily generalized to more realistic settings with a large number of users. Here is the model. We have two consumers, call them Alice and Bob, and they contemplate registering to Dropbox. There is a price P to be paid to be able to use Dropbox for 1 year. What is the value that the consumers can get from Dropbox? So what is their willingness to pay? Well, there are two elements. You can use Dropbox either to store your file or to share your files with the other user. Okay, so we call the standalone benefit the benefit you have from storing your own file. Okay, and we call the network benefit the extra benefit you get from being able to share files with the other user. Now, what is important to notice here is that the network benefit is conditional on the other user's decision. Okay, it's only if the other user also uses Dropbox that you will be able to share your file with this other user. Okay, so here there is an element of game in the demand function. Game because what the users obtain depends on the decision of the other users. Okay, so we can represent the demand game as follows. Or two players have to choose to buy Dropbox, or they can refrain from buying Dropbox. But what they obtain depends on the decision of the other user. So first of all, let's look at this cell here where they both buy. Well, they both have to pay the price P. They both get the benefit of storing their own file. And in this case, and only in this case, they also both get the benefit of being able to share their files with the other user. Now, if one user doesn't buy while the other user buys, so here for example, well, we normalize to zero the utility of Bob. It doesn't buy the product. As for Alice, she only gets the benefit of storing a file and she has to pay the price P. We've got exactly the reverse here, and if both of them don't buy, then they get both zero. Now, in order to find the demand, so in order to be able to know how many users buy the product for a given price, we need to look for the Nash Equilibrium of this game. This is what we do here. Basically, the prices that matter can be anything between 0 and infinity, but there are two thresholds that matter, which are 50, the value of storing your own files, and 50 plus 30, so 80, the total value if you can also share your file with the other user. So take Alice. Well, if the price is very low, if it's below the value she would put on the product for just using the product on her own, well, she buys no matter what, no matter the decision of Bob. Similarly, at the other extreme, if the price is very large, is above 50 plus 30, then she has no reason to buy. Now, for intermediate prices, here we've got a conditional decision by Alice. Okay, she buys only if Bob buys. The price is too large, it's too expensive for just using Dropbox to store her own files. But it becomes cheap enough to buy it if she believes she will be able to share her files with Bob. Okay, we've got exactly the same behavior here for Bob. He never buys if the price is above 80. He always buys if the price is below 50, and if the price is between 50 and 80, then Bob will buy only if Alice buys. Now, if we put together the behaviors of the two users, this is what we have. For low prices, they both buy. For very high prices, none of them buy. But for intermediate prices, we can have two scenarios. It may be that they both buy, or that none of them buys. Okay, so we have here two equilibria. For a given price between 50 and 80, there are two possibilities. It could be that both buy or none of them buy, And these equilibria are supported by a self-fulfilling prophecy. If Alice and Bob both believe that the other one is not going to buy, then they don't have any reason to buy, which confirms what they were believing in the first place. Okay, so that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. But the same goes if they both believe that the other one will buy, then they want to buy, which again confirms what they were believing in the first place. Okay, that's another self-fulfilling prophecy. So what is a self-fulfilling prophecy? Well, this is the fact that the beliefs will shape my behavior, and my behavior will influence the behavior of other people, which will reinforce my own beliefs. Okay, this is exactly what's happening here, but the key fact is that for some prices, we have two self-fulfilling prophecies, two equilibria. Another way to say that is that for a given price, we have two levels of demand, two potential quantities. Okay, so that's a major transformation in the demand function. What we learn in Economics 101 is that the demand function is downward sloping. If you give me a price, I give you a unique quantity demanded. Here, for given prices, you can have two quantities demanded. That's a major difference. And what are the consequences of this difference? Well, first of all, there is a form of unpredictability. For intermediate prices, in my example between 50 and 80, there is no way to know a priori whether the product will be adopted or not. It could be adopted by both users, or it could be adopted by none of them. Okay? Another consequence is that there is a potential inefficiency. Okay? If the price is below 80, well, both consumers are better off if they buy. Okay? But if the price is above 50, it may be the case that consumers don't buy at equilibrium. They may both have pessimistic expectations about the behavior of the other player, so they may believe that the other player is not going to adopt, and so they are right not to adopt, although they would be both better off if they were adopting the products. Okay, so let us summarize the results we can draw from this very simple model, and I repeat, we can generalize them to more realistic situations with a lot of players, a lot of users. The first result is that network effects make the consumer's purchasing decisions interdependent. And the second main result is that there can be several levels of demand for the same price, making it hard to predict a priori what consumers will decide, and giving rise to potential inefficiencies, as consumers may fail to purchase the product, although this would make them all better off. That's the main message I wanted to convey with this presentation. Thank you for your attention.